Philip Schofield, ladies and gents. But before I go any further, just a quick apology of sorts to a young lady called Jen, who follows the channel. Jen messaged me about a week ago when we did the last piece on Philip Schofield and said, enough about Schofield already, Dave, enough about Schofield. We're never going to see him on the TV again. I agree with the last part there, Jen. Unfortunately, there's more to say today because yet more news and revelations are hitting the media, hitting the press today. You may not have read it yourself, and to that end, for all those that haven't, I'll fill you in. This isn't old news, this is new news, and it's about the liar, that is, Philip Schofield. Yeah, liar, I know it's a strong word, viewers, I know it is, but when I tell you this, I'm sure you can't do anything but agree with me. A new piece has come out today in the paper. As I say, for those that haven't seen it, I'll read it to you. I'll put the bins on for it. I've highlighted loads and I was going to read it to you all, but we'll be here for 5 minutes, and the bins and the glare doesn't go good. So I've just got some little bullet points, and then I'll read you a little bit. Otherwise, we'll be here forever, and you don't need that. The paper's highlighting a story by a guy called James. That isn't the guy's real name. They don't want to put out his real name, but it concerns a chap. Correct name, this one, called Ben Perryman. Ben Perryman, it turns out, is a friend of Philip Schofield's. And Ben Perryman fell out with James 4 or 5 years ago, 2018, 5 years ago, and took some naked pictures of James that he sent to 30,000 people on Twitter and to James's bosses and work colleagues. An all-round nice guy. Anyway, he got a 12-week suspended sentence when it went to court. James took him to court. And one of the main reasons he got off was the 3 character references he received from 3 different people. Yes, you've guessed it. One of them was from Philip. 2 years before he came out as gay. 5 years before he lost his job for his affair with a younger person. This Ben is also a much younger person. I think he would have been between about 18 and 23 at the time. I should have researched that. I think I'm in the ballpark. If I'm not, apologies. Anyway, seemingly, according to this Ben had met him through one of his daughters, Schofield's daughters at university, and become his friend. Ben is obviously a young gay man going out with James. Anyway, he got 12 weeks. Now, let me read you a couple of excerpts from the paper, and this gives you an idea of what kind of person Mr. Schofield is. This is in the Mail today, and the Mail are complaining about, not complaining, saying, yet again, he's lied to us about underage men. Just read you a couple of bits, and only a couple. There's better bits than this, but a couple of bullet points. James said that, cracks began to show after 2 years in their relationship. It became increasingly turbulent. James said he became aware of a third person in the background of their relationship, and that was Philip Schofield. Perryman, the guy that sent the pics, Perryman had told his boyfriend James that he was friends with Schofield. He called him his godfather or Uncle Phil, saying that he met him through one of Schofield's daughters. James said initially Perryman, who was still living in Liverpool with him, would see the TV presenter, that is Schofield, in London around 4 times a year. But the pair would regularly speak using FaceTime or message each other via the Telegram app. Further down he goes on to say, the TV presenter would call his friend on FaceTime during this morning advert breaks. So in a couple of minutes they've got adverts on, Schofield was messaging this guy on FaceTime. It's all a bit strange. And also from his holiday villa in Portugal. I wonder if his wife knew anything about that. James claimed that Ben would say things like, I've got to go to London, but he wouldn't tell me anymore. When he came back he would say, I went out for lunch with Philip. It's crazy. Now the thing is, when the Mailers approached Schofield about it a couple of weeks ago, Schofield said he did do a letter in defence of this guy, a character reference, but he never knew at any time it would be using in court proceedings, and he never knew at any time that this Ben, his friend, was getting done by the courts for sending these explicit snaps of his former boyfriend James to 30,000 people plus work colleagues and friends. Schofield never knew anything about any of that, and sort of stated that he probably wouldn't have done a character reference had he have known. Turns out on Friday of this week just gone, the Mail have received papers from the courts, and the papers from the court say that all 3 people that sent in character references for Ben Perryman, is it Ben Perryman? Yes, it is, were all made aware that that he was going to court and what he was in court for. So Philip Schofield, on behalf of a much, much, much younger man who he was only a friend of, he was Uncle Phil towards this guy. This guy is getting done for sending explicit pictures to over 30,000 people, and Schofield has sent a letter in his defence, which has helped him to get off. How shocking is that, people? Viewers, friends, how shocking is that? And what this James is saying, he said the thing is, he's been on the TV on 3 or 4 occasions on this morning talking about revenge porn and how it's one of the worst things out there and how it's disgusting, how it's disgraceful, how it should be stamped out and people should pay the ultimate price. Yeah, 5 years ago, he's helping to get somebody off. Crazy, isn't it? As I said, Jen, I think there'll be more to come regarding this morning yet. I can't forget what that politician said on GB News or the other news channel, saying she believes there's at least one other boy he's been seeing, and this other boy she's certain he's got an injunction against. Maybe it's this Ben, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But I think there's more. But that's by the by. This story in itself stands alone. It's a totally different story. But this is Schofield, the guy that only got sacked earlier this year, that only came out as gay 3 years ago, that 2 years previous to that, at the time when he was having the relationship with the boy in question that he's lost his job for, was also seeing this young man in London as well, at least 4 times a year and maybe more. And they were having lunches together. All very, very strange, Jen. Very, very strange, and everybody else out there. But how on earth he could send a letter like that, defending someone and getting him off a charge of revenge porn, and then talk about it on the TV and castigate it and everybody that's involved in it is just beyond me. And I think it just says a hell of a lot about Schofield and his character. It really, really, really does. It's shocking. The whole shooting match is shocking. And as I say, I honestly believe there's more to come. I hope there's not. I hope there's no other boys in that tangle web with Schofield, but it makes you wonder, it really does. But Schofield has a problem in telling the truth. Of that, there's no doubt.